Alright, people. This is the third and final time that I'm going to try to upload this video. The volume button, the volume meter on the YouTube page shows that I'm super low. I just checked the three live streams that I tried to do, and here it was actually super loud. So I'm going to try to keep my voice down. I guess I'm being picked up well. Again, thank you. Who I guess you're my one subscriber. You aren't saying nothing, but thanks for stopping back again. I appreciate you. But as the title says, this is something that I would like to put out there for people who may not know what maintenance meds are, that are still using, and I'd imagine there's a lot of young people out there that may not have any idea what methadone or Suboxone actually are. And for those people who don't, that's what I wanted to do this video for. Anyway, the channel, We the Addicts, is dedicated to trying to build some community around people that are on maintenance meds and addicts and recovering addicts alike. But I am quite disappointed in the stigma that people on maintenance meds get. In actual 12-step recovery, we get looked down on as if we're not recovering. And the main purpose of this channel is to build some community around people on maintenance meds that are doing what they're supposed to do, waking up, taking their medication, and going about their business and living a good life. So with that being said, I found a pretty good article on the difference between methadone and Suboxone. The link will be in the description if you want to check out the website yourself, but I am going to read the article on what's the difference between methadone and Suboxone, and I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about my experience with both of them because I have been on them both. So the website is Alcohol and Drug Services, ADS. Excuse me. And the name of the article is The Difference Between Methadone and Suboxone. It starts off by saying an overview. Methadone and Suboxone are the two leading medications used in the treatment of opioid addiction. Methadone has been utilized in opioid treatment in the United States since the late 1960s. Suboxone was introduced in 2002. Methadone and Suboxone, are in widespread use around the world due to their proven benefit in treating opioid addiction. Both medications are FDA approved and are endorsed by the American Medical Association and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. Methadone and Suboxone aid in the recovery process by binding to the brain's opioid receptor sites such that a patient's painful opioid withdrawal symptoms are alleviated. When withdrawal sickness is eliminated, a patient is able to focus their attention and effort on the recovery process and the restoration of work, family life, and other responsibilities. A particularly troublesome aspect of opioid addiction is the intense physical dependency and withdrawal syndrome, which emerge over time. And anybody that has used opioids in excess knows this. As dependency grows, many opioid users find that they need increasing amounts of the drug to avoid withdrawal sickness, as we all know, or most of us know. Opioid withdrawal symptoms include diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, sweating, fevers, chills, tremors, racing heart, hypertension, anxiety, depression, agitation, and most horrible withdrawal symptom that I had was the antsiness and the restless leg, like the feeling of not being able to sit still. I couldn't take it. The physical sickness and mental anguish of opioid withdrawal drives users to desperate measures. Users often move to injection drug use of street heroin since it's cheaper and readily available. Some people also start on heroin and just use whatever in the process, such as I did. I used whatever I could get my hands on, or other narcotics, thus placing themselves at an increased risk of death by overdose. Methadone and Suboxone specifically address debilitating withdrawal sickness and they provide a degree of stability and physical and emotional relief that are valuable to a recovering addict. These medications assist the treatment process by keeping people in recovery longer, and they remove the daily dilemma of securing illicit drugs to prevent opioid withdrawal. A comparison of methadone and Suboxone. Methadone is a full opioid antagonist, which means it is somewhat stronger than Suboxone. Suboxone is a partial opioid agonist, and consequently is considered somewhat safer than methadone. Both medications are prescribed by a physician in addition to treatment. Methadone is provided in a clinic setting and administered by a nurse, usually taken orally on the site by the patient. Suboxone is often prescribed in a doctor's office and may be taken at home. Methadone is often given in liquid form and is swallowed. Suboxone is a thin film that is placed under the tongue where it dissolves. A patient receiving methadone in a treatment program can earn take-home medication privileges after a period of time stable on the medication. Both medications present few to no side effects and are considered safe to take. Suboxone is a combination of two drugs, bupropion, I know all of this already, and I've known it for years and I can't read it, and naloxone. Bupropion is the partial opioid agonist and active ingredient that binds to the opioid receptor sites and provides relief from the withdrawal. Naloxone is an additive that deters the injection use of Suboxone. Recipients of methadone or Suboxone are required to receive regular counseling in addition to their daily medication. This counseling is to help the individual develop improved coping skills and the ability to reduce or prevent relapse. The limits of Suboxone. Suboxone has received much attention in recent years in association with the growing U.S. opioid epidemic. Consequently, many more people have become curious about the medication as a possible alternative to methadone. While Suboxone does offer convenience of immediate take-home availability, opioid users with an extensive drug use history may find that the Suboxone is not sufficiently strong enough to eliminate their daily opioid withdrawal. As a partial opioid agonist, Suboxone effects may not fully remove intense withdrawal symptoms. This varies from person to person, but is likely to be more true for opioid users who have developed a high tolerance or who have used over a period of years. Suboxone has a ceiling effect whereby taking additional Suboxone produces no more additional relief. When it is determined that Suboxone is not strong enough to eliminate a person's withdrawal, then methadone can be utilized effectively. Since it is a full opioid agonist, methadone does not have a ceiling effect for nearly all opioid addicted individuals. There is a particular dosage level of methadone that will safely and completely remove their withdrawal symptoms. It will be important in the years ahead that legislators and policymakers promote medication-assisted treatment wherever possible, while being careful not to oversell Suboxone as a panacea for all opioid addictions. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Suboxone and methadone are both life-saving, life-saving are both life-saving advancements in medicine, and each provides unique advantages. However, methadone will remain the primary medication of choice for moderate to severe opioid addictions, which I don't know how old this article is, but I think that a lot of this is outdated. Its history of effectiveness has stood the test of time, and its ability to fully alleviate opioid withdrawal and opioid cravings is very compelling. Now, as I said, pardon me 1 second. I have my TV on for a little bit of extra light because I'm going to be getting into my gaming channel here once I'm done, and it adds a little extra light in this dark ass room. But I myself was a very heavy user at the end of my last run. I didn't go hard for years and years and years like some, but let's talk a little bit about my experience now on both medications. Okay, I went to rehab for the final time, well, maybe the final time, in 2008. Okay, and I stayed clean for about a year and a half, almost 2 years on my own in 12-step recovery, going to meetings, found a sponsor, was slowly working my way into, step work. And, I did 90 meetings in 90 days because I wasn't working at the time. And it was a good experience. I ended up relapsing like an idiot, as I said, about a year and a half to 2 years in of being clean. And my addiction progressed back to using, like, I started off with, it was either a couple Roxy 5s or a couple Percocet 7.5s. And then I went on a vacation and I drank and smoked while I was on that vacation. And I was telling myself what happens on vacation stays on vacation, but that wasn't the case. And I mean, I sort of knew that going in. Being in recovery for a year and a half, I was just making excuses. So, my addiction progressed from, popping a couple pills and, doing some cocaine products and, sniffing a little bit of this or a little bit of that and smoking here or there and drinking here and there to more and more and more and more and more. And the whole time it happened, I felt absolutely horrible about myself. I felt like a complete contradiction. Every time I would use anything, as soon as I would use, I felt horrible. I'm sure people that have relapsed go through that have relapsed before and they have gone through the same thing. So I got to a point where I was like, okay, this is enough. I can't go no further, or this could be it. I could die. So from there, I started weaning myself off of everything, one substance at a time. Like, first it was cocaine products, then it was alcohol, then it was marijuana, and then I got myself back to the point where I was just using like a perk 5 a day or a little piece of something a day, just so I wasn't getting the physical withdrawal symptoms. Through the course of that time, I ended up finding somebody that was prescribed Suboxone back in the day before strips were actually available. They wore the pill form, stop sign, chalky, nasty, put under your tongue and let dissolve, nasty, thick pills that you had to take. So I was getting 5 off of this person every payday, which was every 2 weeks. I was back working at this time. I was in a relationship at this time. And I sort of started to build a life again while I was working my way off of my addictions again. So that went on for about 3 months to where I was getting 5 Suboxone every 2 weeks, taking a little piece every day just to get by. And it was great. I felt normal again. I felt good. And then the person disappeared on me. I called him on a payday, no go. Kept calling him for days and days and days and days. It was my lifeline. You know what I mean? I felt horrible. So I think I was able to come across a couple perks or a couple Lortabs or something, and then I could find nothing, and the withdrawal started kicking in. So, long story, slightly shorter, I ended up fessing up to the girl I was with. I ended up fessing up to my family, and I was like, "Look, I was using. This is where I was at. This is where I'm at now. I have to figure something out." With everything that was going on in my life, I felt at that time that I could not go back to rehab. I sort of wish I would have, but I would have lost the job that I just got and everything. And I know they're just excuses and justifications, and I would have been better off if I would have just went back to rehab, but I didn't. And I went to the local methadone clinic. Started out per the usual. I think they start you on 30 for the first 3 days, and then you could start working your way up or down from there. The addict in me started working my way up. and I worked my way up to 75 milligrams a day. That's the highest I went, which some people are on 200 plus. And I mean, like I said, I went extremely hard before. And I mean, I definitely have some tolerance as far as the opioids are concerned, but I never went higher than 75 or felt that I should, because for me personally, once I got level at a dose, or even if I was working my way up or working my way down, I felt normal. Like I didn't really feel high ever on methadone, except for the first couple days, and that was it. After that, it was like chasing the dragon. You know what I mean? I never felt like I caught a buzz. But what ended up happening to me is if I stayed level at any dose, whether it was 75, 50, 20, 45, 30, if I stayed at any dose for longer than 2 weeks, I would be sitting here right now and I'd be nodding out. Now, for those of you who watch my gaming channel, I do that there, but it's because I wake up at 3 a.m. every morning, go to work, come home. If I don't have my daughters, I'll try to get on and stream. But by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm already up for 12 hours, have lifted, worked for 8 hours, came home, and I still try to stream. So that's why I go out. It's because I'm running myself ragged. But at that point in time, I didn't have a gaming channel. I didn't have anything but, the girl I was with and stuff like that. And if I was just sitting there watching TV, I would start going out and I would just keep like nodding out as if I was high. I didn't feel high. I didn't feel intoxicated in any way, shape, or form, but I would nod out as if I was. I wasn't smoking weed. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't doing anything but taking the methadone daily, working, lifting at the time, because I've always lifted for the most part, hanging out with my girl at the time, and living life. Well, it ended up happening at work. And I have been a certified welder, whatever you want to say, for years off and on. And I'm welding and I'm, laying down a bead and there's a puddle of steel. And I got to grind it all off and fix it and keep going. And it got so bad that somebody ended up snitching on me at work. And they were like, look, we're going to have to let you go. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not doing anything I shouldn't. I said, go get me a cup right now. You can come in the bathroom. I will pee for you. I'm not doing anything I shouldn't do besides taking my medication that I'm prescribed. So they were like, okay, well, we can't let you work. I mean, I understood it's a heavy industrial environment with cranes and forklifts and large things being welded and moved and grinding and cutting and dangerous shit. I understood. So they were like, you got to figure it out and then you can come back to work. So I went and I actually had an overnight sleep study done, which they pretty much just test you for sleep apnea and any other small abnormalities, like maybe with your heart or, you know what I mean? But they didn't find anything. I didn't have sleep apnea. So I was like, okay, it has to be the methadone. So at that point, I started weaning myself down. And I went down a milligram a day for 5 days a week because you couldn't go down on the weekends. So it was 1 milligram per day, 5 days a week. And I went from 75 to, it was like 17 or 13 within 3 months. I kicked ass weaning myself back down. And the way I did it, I would go down a milligram a day per week, 5 milligrams per week, we'll say, to make it easier. Until I started feeling sort of iffy and antsy. And then I would take a break for a week or two, depending, as long as it took for me to start to feel normal again. As soon as I was like, I don't feel any different, bang, right back to going down 5 milligrams per week. Kicked ass, got down to, I believe it was 13 milligrams, because when you want to, and this is when I switched to Suboxone, and to wean yourself down and be on methadone to switch to Suboxone, I think it's 13 milligrams. They won't touch you before 13 milligrams. And then for like your first prescription or two, they'll give you Not Suboxone, but brain fart. Somebody help me out here. Hold on. The magic Google. Just because I'm having a brain fart and I can't remember, I apologize. What is butyroprenephrine without Subutex? Never mind, I got it. Subutex. For the first prescription or two, they'll give you Subutex rather than Suboxone, which is Suboxone without the naloxone, the blocker in it, so you don't get sick. And I don't know if it was withdrawal at that time, but I felt like I had the most horrible flu for that weekend. When I first quit taking the methadone, got the prescription of Subutex and started taking it for 2 days, I was so sick. It was horrible. And the chills that I was having, it was weird. It felt like a ball of chill at the base of my spine, and it would radiate out through my whole body, starting at the base of my spine. It was insane. It was the most sick I've ever felt in my life. But that's when I switched over, and I was going to a Suboxone clinic. This was at the time when there wasn't much recognition for how bad the opioid problem is in America, and everything was still a cash on hand business. And the cheapest place that I found was down in Bridgeville, Pennsylvania, which is a little outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And it was $250 for the first visit, $200 a month every visit after that. And I was lucky enough that I had insurance that would pay for the prescription, or you had to pay for the prescription out of pocket as well. And at the time, I don't know if it's still the case, but a Suboxone strip or pill was close to $15 per pill or strip, which is insane. So luckily, I had insurance that would pay for it. And I was making that trip down there once a month. But the office was like a joke. Like, when I first started, there weren't many restrictions on Suboxone either, and I was able to get 3 pills a day, which now looking back, I was taking them, but nobody really needs 3 pills a day. And then I ended up getting into a doctor's office here in my hometown in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and they accepted the insurance, and a counselor actually turned me on to it because I needed the money. I didn't have $200 a month to spend on treatment. I had twins on the way, actually, my daughters. So I really could not afford to spend that $200 a month. Would go a long way. So that's how I ended up on Suboxone, and I am currently still on Suboxone to this day. And as I said, I just go about my normal life. I wake up, I take my meds, I go to work, or I go to the gym, I go to work. I spend time with my daughters, and I'm trying to be a good dad. And that's that. So that's why I wanted to make this video, to just put it out there. And I want to do more videos like this with a little bit of educational value for parents, loved ones, addicts, anybody looking for that information about these meds that can really save somebody's life. Because when you turn to a 12-step program, or somebody that's in a 12-step program, they're going to tell you that these medications are wrong, that you shouldn't be on them. It's just a crutch. And part of me still believes that in my heart of hearts, because my first time being clean, I was in 12-step recovery. My first time being completely substance-free and living a good life again for the first time since I was 16 years old, because I started using avidly, which of course back then it wasn't much besides smoking, trying a pill here or there, drinking occasionally because I really wasn't much into alcohol. But all those years I used, and it progressed into the opioids because it's one of the best highs you can have. Anybody that has ever used them will tell you that. But please, 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 anybody who watches this on the replay, stay away. Anything over 2 to 3 days of decent use and you're guaranteed withdrawal symptoms. And each and every time you use, you're going to need more and more. It's going to get worse and worse. And I've had very good friends of mine back in the day when I was still using, like, oh, I must be different. I don't get addicted. I don't get withdrawal like that. And then it progressed and they got bad and it was ugly. So stay away. Stay away, stay away, stay away. I say it lightly now, but I can't mean it more wholeheartedly. But again, this is for anybody looking for that information about what the two are, the differences between them. Now, like I said, I don't know if I said it in this or when I was trying to record before, that I would not wish methadone on my worst enemy because of the effect that it had on me. But there are many, many, many thousands of people, hundreds of I don't know how many thousands of people, but I'm sure that there are over thousands of people in the world that thrive and take methadone every day and live a good life, and they take their medicine and they do what they need to do and they go about their business and they live a normal life. But as I was saying, if you turn to somebody in 12-step recovery, chances are you're going to get that these drugs are bad. But in the reality, I think that we, as a community, everybody in recovery, whether it's on maintenance meds, 12-step, or the other ones, I don't know what they're called, where they try to look at the actual causes of the addiction and they say they cure the addiction, which I don't know if I buy yet. I haven't done much research, but I think we all need to be a little more open-minded as far as maintenance medications are concerned. I'm living proof. I don't do anything I'm not supposed to. I just take my medicine as if it were a vitamin every day. And I go about my life and I live my best life. You know what I mean? I may not go to meetings anymore, but that is because I feel some type of way about myself being in 12 steps in the first place. And I know that I can't go to a meeting and say, all right, look, my name's Aaron. I'm an addict. I'm on maintenance meds. As soon as I'm brutally honest, because that's one of the things you need to be in recovery is brutally honest. If I say that and I'm completely honest with myself and everybody in the meeting, then I get looked down on. So that's the main reason that I started this channel. I want to build a strong community for people on maintenance meds, pretty much revolving around people on maintenance meds, but still yet open to all addicts. Don't get it wrong. And that about sums it up. I'm going to play a little bit on my gaming channel, True Masterson. Just how it sounds is how it's spelled. TRUE space MASTERSON. If you're into gaming, stop by that channel. I do Let's Plays, walkthroughs, gaming news, game reviews, and I'm trying to come up with some other solid ideas for my gaming channel. So check me out there. Also, check out my daughters. They do an awesome channel as well, which I produce for them. It is called Twinsy Toy Talk. We do some cool vlog stuff and unboxing stuff there as well for them. And that's about it, I guess. So please like and subscribe. Drop me a comment. Let me know how you feel about anything. You want to let me know how you feel about it. And if there's any ideas for videos that anybody may have involving recovery, let me know. So until the next time, as I always say, over and out.